welcome to, it's lovely to chat with you. Just to explain, Sasha was here a little bit earlier, so we had a few minutes just to chat together. But Andy and Dean and Emma and Susan and Wilfred, you are all equally welcome. And it's fabulous that you are joining us for this event this evening. I don't know if event's too grand a word. It's an introduction to Milton Road Primary School, and we will be starting in, I'm going to check my watch again. Oh, we're going to be starting now because, and Ruth, you've joined us. So Zoom user, you were here at about 5:15. So I'm glad you've joined us again. It's great that you're back with us. And Ruth, we've got two Ruths on the line. So we've got a lovely, and Angeline, you've just joined us. Welcome, everybody. Ruth and Jack McDonald, you've joined us. Lovely to have you. Lucy has joined us. Welcome, Lucy. Vanessa has joined us. Vanessa, that's a surname I recognize. I don't know if you've already got children in the school, but certainly a welcome to you. And Kat has joined us as well. So thank you, everyone, for jumping onto the Zoom. We will be starting. We're now up to 15 participants. And I will just check with my co-host this evening if she feels we should. Oh, she's giving me, I'm going to use the word canonical again, Sasha. She's using the canonical Zoom double hand up sign, which means we will be pressing record once I know where it is. Because I can see and I've got pause recording.
It looks like you're already recording.
Marvellous. So people have had all of that nonsense, Sasha. Had all of this nonsense. Okay, we will make a start. So thank you, everybody. 15 participants. Really lovely to, we can't see you. So please feel that you're going to send us positive vibes because apart from Sasha's lovely face, we can't see anybody. So we're just going to assume that you are out there in the virtual world, and we are going to talk for a few minutes about our primary school and share a little bit about our rationale, our aims, and we're going to talk more about early years. But first of all, I'd just like to introduce myself to you. My name is Ray Snape. I'm a head teacher and a national leader of education. I've been a head teacher for 15 years. I was previously at I led an outstanding school in the south of the city. I joined Milton Road in January, and I am very, very much looking forward to meeting you all in due course. And I certainly love this school. It's a wonderful community to be a part of, and I'm looking forward to where the adventure takes us. So welcome to Milton Road, where learning is an adventure. And I'm also now going to introduce my co-host this evening. And Fiona, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Fiona Croft. I'm the early years lead here at Milton Road. I joined in September last year. So we're working together to make the school the best it can be. I've been a reception teacher for 9 years, and I also do work with the local authority as a lead practitioner to support local schools with improving their early years practice.
Thank you very much. So we are going to move there we go. So as you've heard, our aim for this conversation, or this presentation, I should say, is to give you a flavour of the rationale of our school, the pedagogy and the curriculum, the values and the vision, and then we'll move on specifically to talk about early years. What I didn't mention at the top of this presentation is that being a head teacher is my passion, my obsession, my profession, and also my hobby. It's something that I think about all the time. And to my mind, being a head teacher is an enormous privilege because as a civic and community leader, I have the opportunity with my colleagues to shape the education that we give our young people, an education as a gift to take our young people into the future. Now, I wonder, in the interest of being a little bit more dialogic, a little bit more involving for you lovely people at home, the 15 of you that are on this Zoom chat, I wonder if you would humor me by thinking back to your early days of school, maybe your primary years, maybe your secondary years, because I'm sure all of us are familiar with the expression, the idiom, school days are the best days of your life. Did you have marvelous memories of school days? Where were you happiest? What were the activities? Who were the people that you can recall from your childhood? And then, if anybody is feeling brave enough and courageous enough, I would love to hear, and Fiona would love to hear, some of your memories. Sasha, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you are the only face I can see at the moment. But if anybody else would like to share some of their memories of the best days of their life, I'd be very grateful. We would be very grateful to hear about them. Goodness, nobody. Sasha, can I ask you to have a go and think of
yeah, I've not had a particularly for my school education. I was I went to school in Russia, so in the 90s, which was really interesting because there was a lot of change going on and things like that. So and I didn't have a particularly good experience. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that, because that was really kind of you to get that ice-breaking moment done. And I value that you did tell us that, because memories can be positive or negative, but they're all equally valid. Is there anybody else who is listening to us that would also be happy to share something from their memories of childhood?
I had a lovely time at primary school. Secondary school was rubbish. But primary school was lovely. I was lucky I went to a really nice one that my mum.
What did you like, Emma? And welcome.
Thank you. I remember there was a particular teacher that I really liked, that I still remember his name. He was called Mr. Perry. He was he was my year 5 teacher, and he did he was an English teacher, and he did a few after school clubs, and I went to his journalist club, and he was my favourite teacher basically, and I remember it well. It was just quite a caring, nice school, and I think so nice. I think they did well to meet my needs. This is Saul saying hello.
Hello.
It's a little bit tricky. We'll probably spend most of this evening muting ourselves because we
Fiona and I are really energized by the fact that our job is all about children, so and kids and working with them. So we love that Saul's on the line. That was brilliant. Did anything of your teacher bring you into a world of journalism?
No. No, sadly, but I've always enjoyed writing, and I ended up doing communication and marketing, which involves write well. I don't do that anymore. I've changed tack, but yeah, I did spend a lot of years doing that.
Marvelous. Well, thank you for sharing. Let's have one more person. I think we briefly saw, I think it was a Hannah that we saw. Hannah, let's put you on the spot, please.
Well, firstly, apologies that we were late. We weren't quite sure how to get into the Zoom, which is slightly ironic because we both work sort of 24 hours a day pretty much with online platforms. So yeah, apologies if you've done intros. We were talking about this the other day actually, and we're probably unusual in the fact that we both really enjoyed schools, both primary and secondary schools. I think it's for me certainly. I had brilliant teachers, and that always is key, important. And also I just like the idea of learning, and I went on to do a PhD, so I never really stopped until I was probably, I don't think I got my first proper job when I was 33. So I just didn't want to stop learning. So I suppose that sort of explains why kind of education bit was important to me. I don't know if you have any comments.
Brilliant. Anything you, well, come on, anything you can add to that, sir?
I agree.
I agree.
That is my
As well, right?
I mean, that'll do. So the point that I think perhaps we are hearing through this dialogue, and if we were perhaps together in ordinary times, we would be sitting around tables. We would have offered you a glass of white wine or red wine or elderflower cordial, or as we like to call it, posh squash. You'd have had a glass of posh squash. There would be popcorn on the table, and we would be getting you all to talk about your school days, because we hold those memories really dear. And going back to what Emma said about those relationships, those special people, those people that take time to get to know you, who find what you're interested in, whether it is writing or whatever, that is what we have at this school. That's fundamental. We look back as educators in our childhood to help us inform what do we want the best of school days to look like. And picking up really on what you said, Hannah, categorically, learning to learn and learning as a skill that takes you into ripe old age, that is also one of the principles that we want to embed in our pedagogy and our curriculum. So thank you very much to people for sharing. If you didn't get your chance to share, and we meet at the gates one day, I would love you to tell me your memories of being in school. Now, you may have heard about the phenomenon of the fourth industrial revolution, which is absolutely happening now. We know all of these systems about AI, greater connectedness, our focus on climate change, all of these put us in a world of rapid change, rapid connectivity between systems. And as we can see through Zoom, we are in this fourth industrial revolution, blurring the lines between the physical, the digital, and the biological spheres, collectively referred to as cyber-physical systems. The rate of change, the rate of innovation happening at a pace. And education systems that were perhaps around the steam age or the electricity age are not entirely fit for purpose. We know that children categorically, that's the second time I've said that this evening, need to have good skills of reading, writing, I would argue playing the ukulele, but we can discuss that at another time. We know that children need these important skills, but knowing that our children who enter the foundation stage in 2021 will be starting their professional life in the year 2048, we cannot imagine what the world will look like then and the technologies that will be around. So alongside those important fundamental skills of communication and mathematics, science, we need to prepare our young children to have a range of transferable skills: complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordination with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, cognitive flexibility. I can promise you that when the World Economic Forum put this together 5 years ago and made a prediction for 2020, every single one of those 10 skills are the type of skills I've had to use in managing COVID or supporting others through this very unusual time. And you out there in Zoom land, you will also recognize that those are the sorts of skills that you will also be using in your day-to-day life: emotional intelligence, creativity, critical thinking. And moving forward, alongside, we describe ourselves as pragmaticians. We teach those important fundamental academic skills, but we're also going to teach those skills that will take our young people into the future: pro-social skills, creativity, and coexistence, learning to get along with other people. So in the spirit of telling you really openly about our curriculum and how we approach things, our young people need to be prepared to have very good interpersonal relationships. They need to feel very good about themselves, to have a secure sense of self, take responsibility for their personal fitness and health and mental well-being. They need to be able to navigate a disrupted and uncertain landscape of work, and they need to be able to reinvent themselves for portfolio careers that already today our young people are familiar with. But we know that our planetary resources are becoming more and more limited, so our young people need to have the skills to think about and protect the Earth's ecosystem and acquire the competencies to make those sustainable, responsible decisions. Future is not fixed. The trends are clear. We can impact on it by setting a clear purpose for education. We may not agree about what it means to thrive, but let us at least debate it. Let's have a discussion about education not just being for the here and now, but for a future that we cannot entirely imagine. The OECD, based in Paris, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, sets as its 2030 aim and objective well-being. Well-being that is about having access to transport, having employment, having cultural opportunities, a really broad sense of well-being. So the piece about our young people having a strong sense of their own identity, their own sense of, it doesn't have to be a binary, the pluralism that we welcome in society today, our young people having this strong sense of agency. These are principles that are absolutely introduced from as soon as our young people start at Milton Road Primary School. Voice, choice, and agency, children being able to make choices around their learning. This is something that the colleague that you have just met facilitates so well in her pedagogy and practice alongside the rest of the team. Children learning within the classrooms, but also part of a wider education ecosystem. Now, I'm just going to take a pause because, as I said previously, the last time that Fiona and I had one of these meetings, when did we do this? June, early July, when we were preparing people to think about the year ahead. People were in a room, glasses of wine, connection, meeting new people that were strangers that could become friends because you meet them at the playground gate, at the school gates. But COVID-19 is something, I don't want to say the elephant in the room, but it's a very real lived experience for all of us. But I want to pause and share with you some of my reflections. In March 2020, when we had our first lockdown, and friends, we are in our second lockdown. Unprecedented for 100 years. We've not had a pandemic for 100 years. None of us have experienced it, but a crisis quickly shows us what is important in life. So here are my reflections of some of the things from the first lockdown that became important to us, that perhaps teaches us a little bit about life. During our first lockdown, people bought trainers. They decided they were going to take up running or walking. They went up into the loft and they brought down their guitar. They dusted it off. They got the violin from behind the sofa and they started to play an instrument they hadn't done since secondary school. They learned how to crochet or to paint or to knit. They spent some time creatively getting more familiar with themselves, spending more time with themselves and learning about new things that they were able to do. We FaceTimed with our families. We Zoomed with our friends. We connected with our university friends that we hadn't thought about for 30 years. We quizzed with our colleagues. We homeschooled and we had lunch with our children and we spent time playing football in the garden. We learned salsa and Spanish and sourdough. We shopped for our neighbors. We were much more aware of the people around us that perhaps needed help. We went to the chemist and picked up medicines for each other. Groups came together to make voluntary organizations to help each other out. We planted seeds, we recycled more carefully, we grew herbs on the window ledges, we bought bicycles, we fed the birds, and we smelt the flowers. And we learnt through that time about our humanity, our individual and collective humanity, and we learnt about what was important in life. And a curriculum, which is the sum of everything that surrounds a child, should speak to what is important. And what I hope you've just heard is that we want our young people to leave Milton Road Primary School with a strong sense of identity. We want them to feel connected, not only to classmates, but to have those pro-social skills so that they can make friends in the workplace. We know that sociable people get on better in life, they earn more money, they have access to better jobs, they have better networks. Teaching our young people how to make connections is a really important skill. Learning to learn, as Hannah said at the beginning, learning that learning is a virtue in itself. It's not learning for learning's sake. It opens doors to new possibility. Our children learning how to be good citizens, to take care of their neighbors, to take care of others in society. These are some of the virtues that make for a great collaborative society. Education, not for the short term, but for the society we want to see when we are grandparents. And thinking about that broader aspect of taking care of the world and a global education that looks to connections all across the world. Because the human race is not a competitive race, it is a collaborative one. At our school, the way that we demonstrate that is that we have very few rules. We believe that how to be good people should be internalized, all of us, and teachers manifest that, they manifest the expectation. Going back to what Emma was saying, our teachers here are kind teachers. From the word kin, which means family, our teachers here are kind, and they are warm, and we are quite famous for that. But it isn't just about being kind and warm, it's also supporting our young people to be the very best that they can be and to take responsibility for their own learning, subject to their own age and development. So we don't have a whole list of rules at Milton Road that say, bylaws, don't drop litter, don't run in the corridor. We have sustainable rules that are here for us as educators, here for the children, but arguably there for you as parents. So take care of ourselves, take care of each other, take care of our learning, take care of our school, our community, and our world, take care for the future. So our curriculum sets through those steps to create a whole education for all of our young people. Identity, connection, adventure, which is learning, citizenship, planet, change making, and regeneration. That is our curriculum design. So those are some things to think about. And I'm very happy if at a later time you want to ask me about any of that, if that needs further discussion, or you have even better if you have some ideas about that, because as a community school, we really welcome this idea of working within the community ecosystem and the city ecosystem, and that we work together through partnerships to create the curriculum for the children. But I am now going to move on, given this sort of overview of what we are aiming to achieve. We're now going to move on to thinking about why the foundation stage is so important, particularly around that piece of identity as a learner. So I'm going to now hand over to my colleague Fiona, and I will step back for a minute. Thanks, Fiona.
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to give you a little flavour about what our foundation stage is all about. I absolutely love looking at the pictures on this slide because I think it really encompasses just the passion, the engagement, the excitement and the curiosity the children have in their learning. They're absolutely focused on what they're doing, and most importantly, they're choosing to do it. They're choosing how to learn, and they are becoming confident and able learners. They're learners who can learn. We talk about our take care agreements all the time in the classroom to give the children that sense of responsibility in taking care of their own learning, and they absolutely know. They do already. We've been in school, I think 10-11 weeks, and they know the progress from September to now is enormous, absolutely enormous. In terms of the reception day, how we structure things, there's some adult-led time, which is where the phonics and the short phonics sessions and the short maths sessions come in, and other learning. For example, this week we're learning about kindness, so we've been reading stories about kindness and having personal and social emotional development activities as part of adult-directed time. But most of the time in foundation stage, the children have time to explore their own learning and their own interests. This is playtime, but it's play that is purposeful. It's not running around going mad like this. That's not what we do. That's not what we're about. It's about the children making decisions and taking responsibility to actually improve their learning. And we do that through a really carefully planned environment, which caters to all their needs and caters to their level of development and where they need to be. So it's an environment that will enable them to make progress, and through interactions with trained and very caring adults, early years practitioners who know the child, know the unique child, and most importantly, know your child and know exactly where they need to go and what they need in order to get there. So we have, we're actually in early years, we're actually adopting the new early years curriculum a year early. We've chosen to be an early adopter school, which is really exciting. We try to be a little bit ahead of the curve here at Milton Road. We're absolutely loving it. What's still really, really important in our new curriculum is the unique child. So again, the positive relationships, that's with each other and with the adults in the environment, as well as the school community. I mentioned that we were talking about kindness this week. It's actually Kindness Week at school. So we've planned a whole week around kindness so the children can feel part of that school community and part of the things that the older learners are doing as well. So I've had some lovely cards this week with I love you, all spelt phonetically, and lots of hearts and that kind of thing. So positive relationships with each other, their teachers and the school community, and the enabling environment. I would really encourage you to watch the virtual tour on the website. You'll get a really clear view of the reception environment. There's also on their website, there's a video of the environment where I talk through some of the activities. If you go to children year group pages reception, you'll find it there. So if we get these things right, it leads to really positive learning and development for each child. I've just listed the characteristics of learning. It really feeds into what Ray was talking about earlier. The whole curriculum is not just about the academic side, it's about learning how to learn. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you, Ray.
Thanks, Fee. If you don't mind, Fee, I want to just go back to your lovely slide before, because what's fabulous about working with Fee, who, as you've heard before, is a leading practitioner, is that we're really looking to ensure that the good foundations that we have in early years continue all the way through the school. And relationships, positive relationships, is everything in our school. It's one of the most important aspects. But knowing the individual child, knowing the parent, getting to know you, this is really at the heart of our practice. And the enabling environments, I want to just explain that the building here is a really beautiful building. It was built in 2006 using the latest thinking around a pedagogy of connectivism. And so there's lots of spaces, lots of group spaces. Children work in corridor spaces, although they're not really corridors, they're big external spaces outside the classrooms. There are learning spaces outside every classroom for the children to learn outside. There is an orchard, there is an outdoor classroom, and beautiful grounds. So the enabling environments, plus these fabulous caring teachers, plus trying to draw out the uniqueness of the child, those principles that start in foundation stage that Bea has given you a flavour of, they really continue all the way through the school. But there's a lot here, and I know that you might want to talk about this at another time, and when we meet at the gate, I'm happy to talk more and to hear your ideas as well. So thinking ultimately about what we want a holistic, happy childhood. We want your children, going exactly back to where I asked that question about what do you remember from your childhood? We want our children, we cast our minds into the year 2040, and we think of those children talking about their childhood. And because we know they will talk about their teachers, they will talk about the experiences, we want to make sure that they have a happy, fulfilled experience in Milton Road Primary School. And our aim is to cultivate happy, healthy, brilliant lives so that we have children who feel really good about themselves, who are really happy in themselves, because we know that people who feel good about themselves go on to do good things. And again, we take a really broad view that we want to see our curriculum through the lens of the body, the mind, the spirit, the connection to the people, the places, and the planet. So we take a very broad view, a very holistic whole education view for our curriculum. Good people do good things and have a good quality of life. I hope that has given you a flavour of some of the principles or some of the thinking that underpins what we do here at Milton Road and the journey that we continue to go on. We are learners ourselves. As Hannah said, she's a learner. I am continually a learner. Fee is a learner. We learn together with the children, and we're very iterative about our practice and our offer. So I'm just going to finish this today by saying the curriculum is a gift or a passport we create with our children to take into the future. A passport to open doors to places, adventures and opportunities we will never ever see, but we hope it will serve them well. So that's really it for this evening. We wanted to give you a flavour of Milton Road. Do have a look at the website for the tour. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to look at the virtual tour. Have a look at what Bea has said as well on the website. Find the tour of the early years classroom. Thank you for spending some time with us this evening. I think that's been just half an hour. I know everybody's quite pushed and with time and might be trying to get babies to bed and so on. If you do have any questions, please email them into the office. If it needs a longer conversation, we can pick up the phone. We're not averse to that. We'd love to talk and connect with you. I think that's about it. It's rather unusual because we can't see anybody, but if anybody's feeling that they'd like to, it's always nice if we can just say goodbye to each other. So if you would not mind and are happy to unmute yourself to just wave goodbye. Fee, if you'd like to come and say goodbye to everybody. Goodbye. Thank you, Ruth. That's really nice of you. Thanks, Ruth. Appreciate that.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Nice to see people.
Thank you.
I can see people popping up. So thanks, Lucy. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
For your time this evening. Thanks, Laura. Hello, little person. Who's this?
This is Joseph.
Hi, Joseph. Joseph, come and look. No, I'm not Joe.
Are you Joe?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Joe, we will get that. We'll get it right. It's really important. Bye, Joe. Bye, everybody. Thank you for your time this evening. Really nice to have you. Bye, Joe. Lovely to see you. Bye. 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 Person. Who's Scott? Who's the person with Scott? Who's this?
Finley.
Finley. Lovely to see you, Finley.
Very nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Finley. You look just our type. Come on in.
These toys.
Hi, come on in.
This toy.
Brilliant. Can't wait to see you.
Even if you put this.
We'll start now. This is fine.
Uh,
Oh, that's brilliant. Those are the sorts of things we love. Good stuff.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for your time. We'll say goodbye. Thanks. Bye.